And for the recording, Chris used, I believe it was 27 microphones. He had, everything was close mic'd. And then he had ambient mics above the drum set, out in the room, and way off in this echo chamber deal that had a ceiling that went up and down, and to change the reverb. And it just created this monstrous, incredibly huge, awesome drum sound that I just couldn't be happier with. I just think the drums sound phenomenal on this record, and I couldn't be happier with it. So, this also is the first drum set I've ever had that is not a lacquer finish. I've always had sets, whether they were midline sets or pro sets, that were painted or stained with the lacquer, and those sets have gotten really abused and torn up and beat up on the road. And so I wanted a set that would be able to withstand the road a little bit better, that without showing so many scars. Not that the scars are a bad thing. That's what makes it your own. Makes it your own. I had a friend used to say, but I just thought it'd be better to have a set that could handle the abuse of the road. Plus, having a nice sparkly silver finish, I won't disappear hopefully so much on the stages when we get out to go play. Another thing on my drum set that is crazy fun is the octobans. When I went back to an acoustic set, I put the electronic stuff away for a while, and I went all just acoustic. And as we were writing material for Blinded by Vision, we were doing the song Center Line, and Amy suggested that I get my electronics out again and keep the electronics as part of that song, because they weren't bad. It just, as the main focus for the drums to be electronic, it wasn't driving the band like we really wanted it to do. So I reintroduced the electronics at that point. When we were working on this album, I kept trying to put the electronics in all over the place, and it just wasn't quite working out. Whenever we're writing new songs or new ideas or snippets, Amy's screwing around on her bass, and so we start messing around with an idea and we start taking it someplace. And I'll go back, we'll jam on an idea, I'll go back and listen to it, and I'll think about different parts I could put on there, and I'll try electronic percussion and different electronic sounds, and I did that all over the album, and I only ended up using electronics on, I think, 3 songs. For instance, on the song Far From Romance, we had written that at the height of our electronic phase when I was using my electronic drum set, and I had programmed in all these timbales and ethnic drums and stuff, which I thought would sound really cool with the song, and they had a nice vibe. When it came time to resurrect the song, because Chris said, hey, this is a cool tune, you guys ought to think about doing it. So we started playing around with it. And I had always heard timbales for some of the crazy drum accent stuff. And I had these other songs, Monarch and Turn Away. I kept thinking, I want some sort of percussion, and I kept trying my electronic samples, and none of those were working. The timbale and crazy Japanese drum samples, they just didn't have the right feel. And I wanted real drums to hit, because sometimes you can't substitute the acoustic drum. So I thought, I always liked octobans, and Stuart Copeland used to use them in The Police, and they had such a unique, cool sound. So I should look into those. And so I ended up getting a set of octobans from a company in Brazil called Odori. And these are really neat. They're made out of wood and out of a fast-growing pine tree, which is a neat, sustainable way to make drums. And the wood gives the octobans a neat, a woody type of a tone. They're a little bit different than other octobans that are made out of acrylic or fiberglass, something like that. So I wanted to. I thought by adding more acoustic drums into the new drum set, I just wanted to be more organic-y, at least on this album, than I had been on Blinded by Vision with auxiliary percussion. And Also, whereas Blinded by Vision, I used these old TR-808 drum sounds for center line or the crazy, sub bass kicks and stuff I was using on Taunted and Black Karma. On this album, for the electronic drum parts, actually are samples of clay drums and other wacky drums. I didn't actually, I guess on the song For Her, the kick drum sound is a completely man-made sound, which had been my approach to Blinded by Vision's electronics. But on this album, I just kind of got more into a real acoustic drum vibe. About doing a cover for a long time. We've gone back and forth. We talked about different songs we could do, and Chris had a good point. He said if you're going to do a cover, you need to do it as kind of an homage to the song, really pay tribute to the song, or you need to completely change it and make it your own. As we started doing Limelight with Amy got her 12-string, she did this incredible job of taking the bass part and the guitar part and sticking them together as one part, and she truly made it her own thing. And so I'm sitting behind my drum set going, wow, that was a monumental effort. What am I going to do? When it came time to actually learn the song, I thought, wow, that shouldn't be too difficult. I've been listening to it for 25 years. But listening to it and playing it, are quite two different things, because I have never been one to really learn other people's songs too much. It hasn't been something I've been too interested in. I did it years ago in a cover band when I had to learn songs, but I usually ended up just kind of doing my own whacked out version of what I thought the parts actually should be. And for a song like this, it has such an incredible drum part. I really wanted to do as much of the drum part as possible, but still, have my own thing with it. So I had a book of Rush sheet music, so I had the drum part to Limelight. So I went through, I took the time, and I learned the song as close to the sheet music as possible. And I started messing around with thinking about adding electronics in, and that just wasn't happening. It just didn't sound right. And at that point, I thought, well, it's such a signature drum part, I'm just going to play it, but I'm going to play it the way that I hear it in my head, because I'll never play it just like Neil Peart would do it anyway. And not worry about the electronics, because it just weren't working out. So I just went as an acoustic thing and just kind of did it Joe style.